basically, that's our history. It's obviously a short history. So the process of making beer, when you go to make beer, you got four main ingredients. You have water, yeast, barley, and hops. And what we do, what most breweries do, is we buy pre-prepared ingredients from different farms all over the world, which basically means we buy pre-dried hops and pre-malted barley. And how you get the color of the beer at the very beginning of the process by how much you roast that barley grain. And the more you roast that barley grain, the darker the beer is going to be. We'll take that barley grain from that red room behind you, on the other side of the green door. It's got a malt mill in there. That malt mill smashes up that barley grain, shoots it through this high-tech PVC pipe, goes into the hopper, and the hopper just uses gravity to drop down into the mash mixer. And what we do in the mash mixer, this is probably one of the most important things that we do to make Brooklyn beers taste like true Brooklyn beers, is we let that barley grain soak with New York City tap water. Love it. Love it. It's New York City tap water. We don't do anything to it. We don't touch it, filter it straight from the tap water. So at the end of the day, when you go to drink our beers that have been brewed here in Brooklyn, what you're drinking is New York City tap water. And everybody thinks it's kind of weird, but New York City actually has one of the best water supplies in the country, runs in the Catskills. They say it's why our pizza dough tastes so good, our bagels taste so good. There's all kinds of non-prescription drugs in there as a freebie for you guys. You get your money's worth that way. But what we're trying to do in a mash mixer is just speed up the process of the enzymes inside that barley grain, turning starch into sugar. And we do that just by increasing the temperature of the water. It takes about an hour or two. We filter away that barley grain in the water ton, and then we'll bring the beer over the boiling kettle. Give me just 1 second. In the boiling kettle is where we add hops. And if you guys have never seen it, the hop looks like a little green acorn. And it's the flowering bud of this vine. And you can either use dried hop leaves, you can use concentrated pellets. Any of the ingredients a beer might have, like a foam into a pumpkin ale, is where we add real pureed pumpkin to get that pumpkin taste. Actually, we got it on right now. A couple of months ago, we did a beer called the Cookie Jar Porter, which is basically like a beer version of an oatmeal raisin cookie. Oh, damn. It's awesome. It's made with real raisin puree, some vanilla bean. A little while before that, we did this bacon-infused beer, which I think sounds awesome, but I heard it was one of the worst beers ever made in the history of beer. We bombed on it. But our brewmaster now is a big food guy. He's got a big culinary background. So for some of the reserve recipes that we do, we partnership with different bakeries, coffee houses, different chefs in the city to come up with different recipes for those reserves. And most of them are just lights out. They're fantastic. When it's done in there, if you guys look around, pretty much anything with a conical bottom on it is a fermenting tank. And in a fermenting tank is where we add yeast. And that yeast will feed on the sugars that are in there and create carbon dioxide, which we're breathing in right now, or ethanol, the alcohol that you drink. This is where you really start to get the finished product of beer. And you can either use ale yeast, you can use lager yeast. This is where you get the body of the beer from. And basically how it works is the more complex the sugars are, the harder the time the yeast is of breaking it down, so you get a heavier body beer. So if you want to make a stout, some really heavy body, all you got to do is just use more complex sugars than you would for something like a typical Pilsner. But instead of that, if you guys look behind you, there's a little R2-D2 unit looking thing against the wall. It's called a filtering keg. And we use that filtering keg to filter off all of that yeast that's in there. We do that with everything that we got on tap today except for the Weisse. It's an unfiltered German-style wheat beer. And a little FYI, this isn't fact or anything, but I've been told this by very smart people. If you are prone to hangovers and you drink unfiltered beers all night, in the morning you'll be hangover-free. And they say it's because the yeast is a source of vitamin B, and a hangover is partially a deficiency of vitamin B. To drink unfiltered beers all night, you should be good to go. Obviously, the word of warning, I've been told by even smarter people that it's a total lie. So, definitely try it at your own risk. Try it today. Just the right amount? Alright. You gotta find that window. Find that perfect window. When it's done in there, we got the bright tank. In the bright tank is where we do the final adjustment on the CO2 levels. Make sure it's not too flat, not too carbonated. We got the kegging station behind you. There are just 2 ports on there. We do about 24,000 kegs by hand on that machine every year. It takes about 2.5 minutes to pressure fill one of those kegs. And actually, I think it is interesting. We actually don't own most of our own kegs. We're a little Netflix-style rental system. So we share with different breweries all over the U.S. as far as California. We fill them up, ship them out. It takes about once a week, once every other week. And for most of the beers that we do here, that's pretty much the end of the line. So do you guys have any questions about our process or about beer in general?
Which beers are made here?
The way the split up goes, we do in the kegs, we do pretty much all of our ales, we do all of our seasonals, we do all of our reserve stuff, and then upstate, they do all of anything with a lager yeast in bottles and kegs, so like the lager, the pilsner, and they do all of the 12-ounce bottling out there. So all the ales or lagers in 12-ounce bottles they do out there.
What are these big storage tanks? Storage tanks out there?
Out there, those are actually, there's fermented tanks out there. We got the bright tank out there, so they're pretty much the same as the tanks in here. What's that? We do, for most of the beers, we use the same ale yeast strand that we've had at least since we opened here in '96. It's a Belgian yeast strand that we use in propagate. Hey guys, real quick, if you got any questions, I'm going to be here for a couple of minutes. But real quick, I got to tell you that the stuff that we got on for a limited time, we have our Blast, which is our strong double IPA, which is a strong gold ale. We have, hold on guys, keep it down real quick. We got our Detonation, which is another strong IPA, a little darker than the Blast, a little smoother. We got our Pumpkin Ale, which is our seasonal. Please, please, please take your bartenders. The bartenders today are Michelle and G. She's got 25 kids, they live in Shoe. So take care of it, Mr. Rabbit. We just want to say thank you very much for stopping by. Feel free to take pictures for a couple of minutes, and we'll see you at the bar, guys. Thank you.